English Leap Podcast.
Learn easy English with Speak English Like a Pro. Hey, English learners! Welcome back to the English Leap Podcast, your cozy place to learn easy English through real-life conversations and real feelings at the same time.
Yeah, welcome back, everyone.
How are you doing today, Jason?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
I feel awesome today. You know, it's a new day, a new episode, and our brilliant English learners have been waiting for a new episode.
Yeah, I can tell from the big smile on your face.
That's right. So, what are we talking about today?
Today, I want to ask you something direct, something honest, something that might be a little bit uncomfortable.
A little bit uncomfortable. Good. Those are always the best questions.
How long have you been learning English?
Take a moment, really think about it. Months? Years?
And now, here's the uncomfortable part. In all that time, how many real conversations have you actually had in English?
Not listening, not studying, not watching videos, actually speaking with your mouth open, words coming out in English.
For a lot of learners, the answer is surprisingly small. A few, maybe less.
And the reason is always the same.
I am not ready yet.
My English is not good enough yet.
I need to learn more vocabulary first.
I need to feel more confident first.
I will start speaking when I am better.
And today, we want to say something clearly and kindly and directly.
That day is never coming.
Not because you are not improving, you are improving, but because the feeling of being ready to speak does not arrive before you start speaking.
It arrives because you start speaking.
Ready is not a starting point. Ready is a result.
And if you wait for ready before you start, you will be waiting forever, studying forever, preparing forever, speaking never.
And today, we are ending that wait. Today, we are giving you the understanding, the tools, and the push you need to stop waiting and start speaking.
Not when your English is perfect, today, with the English you have right now.
This is an A2 to B1 level episode. Simple words, clear sentences, honest conversation.
And we will explain the important words as we go. And at the end, we'll have our word tour with 10 expressions from today.
Before we begin, one request. If this podcast gives you the push you needed, please like this episode and subscribe to the English Leap podcast. And share it with one English learner who is still waiting to start speaking.
And in the comments today, we want you to write the honest answer to this question. What are you waiting for before you start speaking English? Be honest, no judgment here.
Okay, let us start with a story.
I like stories.
I know you do. So imagine two people. Both start learning English on the same day. Same level, same starting point.
Same textbook, same teacher, same everything.
Person one studies carefully, takes notes, learns vocabulary, practices grammar, studies every day for 1 year, but never speaks because never quite ready.
Person two studies less carefully, makes a lot of mistakes, forgets grammar rules constantly, but speaks every chance they get, every day for 1 year.
At the end of 1 year, who speaks better English?
Person two every time without exception.
Not because person two worked harder, person one worked harder.
Not because person two was more intelligent, they both had the same starting intelligence.
Because person two did the one thing that actually builds speaking ability. They spoke.
And person one did everything except the one thing that actually matters for speaking. They studied. And studying and speaking are not the same skill.
Studying tells your brain about English. Speaking builds your mouth in English.
And your mouth needs to be built, just like a muscle, through use, through repetition, through the slightly uncomfortable experience of making sounds come out in the right order.
And no amount of studying builds that muscle. Only speaking builds that muscle.
So if you want to speak better English, there is one thing you must do. Not study more, speak more.
Starting today. Not when you're ready, today.
Okay, let us talk about the real reason people do not speak, because I said it's waiting for ready, but it's deeper than that.
Much deeper.
The real reason is fear, specifically the fear of being judged for your mistakes.
And this fear feels so reasonable, so logical, so understandable.
Of course I do not want to sound stupid. Of course I do not want people to laugh at my accent. Of course I want to say things correctly before I say them in front of someone.
These thoughts feel like wisdom, like caution, like smart preparation.
But they're actually very expensive. They cost you every conversation you don't have, every connection you don't make, every opportunity that passes because you were not ready.
And here's the truth about mistakes in English that nobody tells you clearly enough.
What is the truth?
Nobody cares about your mistakes as much as you do.
The most important and most ignored truth in language learning.
When you make a mistake in English, what happens?
The listener hears something slightly wrong. They understand what you meant. They continue the conversation.
That's it. That's the whole consequence. The conversation continues.
Nobody stops and says, "Oh, you used the wrong tense there. Let me note that down." Very disappointing.
The imaginary grammar police. They don't exist.
They have never existed. They live only in the head of the person speaking.
And while you're worrying about the imaginary grammar police, the real person in front of you is just waiting to hear what you have to say.
They're not listening for mistakes. They're listening for the message, for the human being behind the words.
And your message, your human being, your personality, your warmth, your ideas, those come through even with imperfect grammar. Always.
Always. Because communication is not about perfection. Communication is about connection. And connection happens through genuine human presence, not through correct verb tenses.
Not through correct verb tenses. Let that sit for a moment.
Okay, let's talk about something very practical, because I know some people are thinking, okay, I believe you, but I genuinely don't know how to start.
And that's completely valid. Starting is the hardest part. We said this in the procrastination episode, and it's true here too.
So let's give you 5 very specific ways to start speaking English today, right now, starting with the easiest possible one.
Way 1. Talk to yourself.
Start with the safest audience in the world, yourself.
No judgment, no grammar police, just you and your voice and English coming out of your mouth.
And what do you say? Anything, everything. Describe your morning. Talk about what you had for breakfast. Tell the story of your week to nobody.
Say what you're doing while you're doing it. I'm making coffee. The coffee is hot. I put too much sugar. I always put too much sugar.
The honest coffee narration.
Real practice, real English, real speaking.
With zero risk.
And this is not a small thing. This is genuinely powerful practice because your mouth is making English sounds. Your brain is finding English words. The connection between thinking and speaking in English is being built.
One sentence at a time.
And it feels silly at first. That's okay. The silliness goes away after about 2 days. The habit stays.
Way 2. Speak to your phone.
Record yourself 1 to 2 minutes of speaking about anything, then listen back.
And yes, it will be uncomfortable to hear your own voice. Everyone finds this uncomfortable. Do it anyway.
Because listening to yourself is the fastest way to notice things, the way you stop in the middle of sentences, the sounds that aren't quite right, the words you reach for and can't find.
And when you notice those things, you can work on them, specifically, deliberately.
Not general study, targeted practice on the exact things that your own speaking revealed.
Your phone recording is your most honest English teacher, and it's free.
Way 3. Use English every single day, even in small moments.
Change your phone language to English. Your brain reads those small words dozens of times every day. Settings, messages, search, new post.
Small input, but constant. And constant small input adds up to significant exposure over weeks and months. Search for things in English. When you want to find a recipe or a video or information, type the search in English first.
Think in English for 5 minutes every day. Just 5 minutes. When you are walking or waiting or doing something quiet, switch your internal voice to English.
What am I doing right now? What do I want today? What happened this morning? In English, in your head, small and private and real.
Way 4. Find one English-speaking partner.
Just one, not a class, not a group, one person.
A language exchange partner, someone who wants to learn your native language while you want to learn English. You help each other, both win.
And you can find language exchange partners online for free. There are communities and apps specifically designed for this.
And here's the key thing about a language exchange partner. They are not your teacher. They are not there to judge you. They are in the same situation as you, trying to communicate in a language that is not yet comfortable.
And that shared experience creates a very gentle, very understanding space to practice.
Make mistakes together, laugh about them together, help each other. That is the whole thing.
Way 5. Comment in English.
On YouTube videos, on English podcasts, on anything you are already consuming in English.
Write your comment in English, even one sentence, even 3 words.
This was a helpful video. I really liked this. I have the same experience.
Short, simple, real, and it counts as English production. Writing is speaking's close cousin. They build the same skills.
And here in our comments section, every day, English learners from all over the world write sentences in English, and we read them. And that writing practice is real.
So that is 5 ways. Talk to yourself, record yourself, use English in small daily moments, find one partner, and comment in English.
Not all 5 at once. Start with one, the easiest one, the one that feels least terrifying.
And once that one is comfortable, add another.
And here's something I want to say about the journey from where you are now to speaking English with confidence.
What is that?
It is not a straight line.
Definitely not a straight line.
Some days you will speak and everything will come out beautifully and you will feel incredible.
And some days you will speak and nothing will come out right, and you will want to close your mouth forever.
The closing the mouth forever days.
We all have them. Even native speakers have days when words abandon them.
And the closing the mouth forever days are not evidence that you are failing. They are just part of the journey.
The bad speaking day after a good one does not mean you're going backwards. It means you're human.
And the response to a bad speaking day is not to stop. It is to do it again tomorrow.
Tomorrow might be better. The day after might be better still. Or it might also be hard. But one more week of showing up brings you somewhere you were not last week.
And one more month brings you somewhere you were not last month.
Progress in speaking is not always visible week to week, but it is always happening underneath the surface.
Like a plant that looks exactly the same for weeks and then one day suddenly has a new leaf.
The growth was happening underground, the soil was being prepared, and then, suddenly, there's the leaf.
And your English speaking is the same. The confidence is being built underground during all the uncomfortable attempts.
And one day, without quite knowing when it happened, you'll realize you're speaking without thinking about speaking.
Just communicating, freely, in English.
That day is built from today, from this conversation, from the first sentence you say out loud in English after this episode ends.
So say it. Whatever it is, say one sentence in English out loud right now, before you do anything else.
Any sentence about anything right now.
One sentence. That's all we're asking. And then tomorrow, say 2.
Okay, word tour time. 10 expressions from today. Simple, clear, and immediately yours.
Listen, repeat out loud, and feel each one becoming part of your English.
First expression, consequence.
Consequence is the result or effect of an action, what happens because of something. Consequences can be good or bad. Understanding the consequence of not speaking helps you understand the real cost of waiting.
For example, the consequence of never speaking English despite studying for years was that she understood everything she read but froze every time she needed to talk. The studying had no consequence for her speaking. Only speaking had that consequence.
Or, every choice has a consequence. Choosing to speak imperfectly has the consequence of gradually becoming more fluent. Choosing to wait has the consequence of staying exactly where you are. Repeat consequence.
Consequence.
Slowly, consequence.
Next expression, targeted.
Targeted means aimed at a specific thing, focused on one particular area rather than being general. Targeted practice works on the exact thing that needs improvement rather than everything at once.
For example, after listening to her recording, she realized her targeted practice should focus on sentence endings. She consistently dropped the final consonants. Once she identified the specific issue, she could work on it directly.
Or, targeted feedback is more useful than general feedback. Not your English needs work, but specifically, this sound is not clear yet. Targeted means specific and therefore actionable. Repeat targeted.
Targeted.
Take your time. Targeted.
Next expression, exposure.
Exposure means being in contact with something regularly. In language learning, exposure means surrounding yourself with English, hearing it, seeing it, using it in your daily environment.
For example, changing her phone to English doubled her daily exposure to the language without adding any extra study time. Every time she checked her phone, she was reading English words. Small moments, constant contact.
Or, children learn languages so naturally because their exposure is constant and unavoidable. The language is everywhere around them all the time. Creating that level of exposure as an adult requires deliberate choices. Repeat exposure.
Exposure.
Slowly, exposure.
Next expression, narrate.
To narrate means to describe events as they happen, to give a running commentary on what is happening. Narrating your daily activities in English is one of the simplest and most powerful speaking practice tools available.
For example, he narrated his morning routine in English every day. I'm waking up. The alarm was too loud. The coffee is ready. I'm running slightly late. Simple sentences, real practice, daily habit.
Or, good storytellers narrate experiences in a way that makes the listener feel present. They don't just say what happened, they describe it as if it's happening right now. Repeat narrate.
Narrate.
Take your time, narrate.
Next expression, caution.
Caution means care taken to avoid danger or mistakes. Being cautious means being careful. In language learning, excessive caution, too much caution, means never trying anything that might go wrong, and that kind of caution prevents growth.
For example, her caution with speaking came from a good place. She didn't want to sound foolish, but the caution had become so strong that it stopped her from practicing at all, and without practice, nothing improved.
Or, some caution in life is wise. Too much caution in language learning is expensive. It costs you all the conversations and connections that imperfect, brave attempts would have built. Repeat caution.
Caution.
Slowly, caution.
Next expression, abandon.
To abandon something means to leave it or stop using it. When words abandon you, it means they disappear exactly when you need them. They were there before, they're gone now. That frustrating experience has a name.
For example, she knew the word perfectly in calm moments, but in the middle of the conversation, the word completely abandoned her. She stood there, knowing the word existed, but unable to find it anywhere in her mind.
Or, don't abandon your English practice when progress feels slow. The slow periods are when the most important underground work is happening. The visible growth comes after. Repeat abandon.
Abandon.
Take your time. Abandon.
Next expression, deliberately.
Deliberately means done on purpose, with full intention and awareness, not accidentally, not automatically. You chose to do it, and you are doing it with full attention.
For example, she deliberately created English exposure in her daily life. It didn't happen by accident. She made specific choices, changed her phone, listened to English podcasts, commented in English. All deliberate decisions.
Or, deliberate practice is different from casual practice. The attention you bring is what activates the learning. Sitting with English but thinking about something else is not deliberate. Being fully present with it is. Repeat deliberately.
Deliberately. Slowly. Deliberately.
Next expression, terrifying.
Terrifying means extremely frightening, causing very strong fear. In the context of speaking English, Terrifying is how many learners describe the experience of speaking in front of someone for the first time.
For example, the idea of speaking English with a native speaker felt terrifying to her. Her heart would race, her mind would go blank. But after the first few times, something shifted. The terrifying feeling became merely uncomfortable, and then just normal.
Or, most things that feel terrifying before you do them feel much more manageable after. The terror lives in the anticipation more than in the actual experience. Repeat. Terrifying.
Terrifying.
Take your time. Terrifying.
Next expression, underneath.
Underneath means below the surface, not visible from the outside, but present and active. In the context of progress, underneath describes the growth that is happening even when you cannot see it yet.
For example, on the days when speaking felt terrible and nothing came out right, he reminded himself that progress was still happening underneath. The roots were growing even when no new leaves appeared.
Or, confidence builds underneath the surface during all the uncomfortable attempts. Then one day it breaks through, not because something dramatic happened, but because enough invisible work had been done. Repeat. Underneath.
Underneath.
Slowly. Underneath.
And our last expression today, anticipation.
Anticipation means the feeling of waiting for and thinking about something that is going to happen. Anticipation can be exciting, but for things we fear, anticipation is often worse than the actual experience.
For example, the anticipation of speaking English was always worse than the actual speaking. In her head, the conversation went terribly. In reality, it went okay. Not perfectly, but okay. And okay was so much better than the anticipation had promised.
Or, we suffer more in anticipation than in reality. The feared conversation in your head lasts forever and ends badly. The actual conversation lasts 2 minutes and ends with the other person saying, "Nice to meet you." Repeat, anticipation.
Anticipation.
Take your time. Anticipation.
That was our word tour for today. 10 expressions that belong in the vocabulary of every English learner who is ready to stop waiting and start speaking.
And now our final thought, the most important thing we say today.
There is a version of you that speaks English confidently, that walks into a conversation without panic, that makes mistakes and keeps going without dying of embarrassment.
That version exists. It is not a fantasy. It is not something only special people achieve.
It is the version you become through speaking, not through studying more, through speaking.
And the only way to become that version is to start being that version, imperfectly, nervously, with a voice that sometimes shakes and sentences that sometimes fall apart.
Because the confident version is built from the nervous attempts, every single one of them.
Every time you spoke and it went wrong, every time you said something imperfect and the conversation continued anyway, every time you survived a conversation you were afraid of.
All of it was building the person who was no longer afraid.
And that person is very close, much closer than you think.
They are just on the other side of the first sentence you say after this episode ends.
So say it, out loud, in English, right now.
Any sentence. I can do this. I am starting today. Today I spoke English.
Any of those.
All of those. One sentence.
And then tomorrow, one more. And the day after, one more.
Until one day you realize you stopped counting.
Because you stopped being scared and started being someone who just speaks English.
That day is coming. It is built from today.
Laugh softly. Today is the day.
Laugh softly. Today was always the day.
If today's episode gave you the push you needed to finally open your mouth and speak, please like it, subscribe to the English Leap podcast, and share it with every English learner you know who is still waiting for the perfect moment.
The perfect moment is right now. It always was. Your progress doesn't end here. To continue advancing your English skills, click on the next video or explore the additional videos we've thoughtfully selected for you.